Chat, new Epstein files are completely insane. That is part 1, 15 minutes. Part 2, 37 minutes. And then we're gonna go in the files ourselves. Which, you know, y'all go, let me look up. Yeah, I bet. Let's get in that shit.
The FBI just dropped 3.5 million files, and it is incredible. Huge bombshells about some of the most powerful people on the planet. I can't believe they let.
I ain't gonna lie. Hold on. Let me go back first.
About some of the most powerful.
For sure, I'm falling asleep. That's all you. I know Elon Musk, Donald Trump. What is this? Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos, no? Oh no, fuck me. What is his name? The CEO? No, the CEO. His name, CEO. Bill Gates. Thank you very much, Capri. Thank you. And
people.
I forgot the name.
On the planet, I can't believe they let some of this stuff out. I mean, it is stunning.
Jesus.
Honestly, one of the biggest lies we've seen is the idea that the FBI could possibly come to us and say, not only is there not a client list, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Guys, we're about to see planned blackmail to one of the most powerful people on the planet, and that is Bill Gates. Listen, there's a lot we're going to get to, but
why they censoring this woman, though?
To start with probably the craziest
No, people went in the files. There's 3 million files. I feel like people are still looking for stuff. Currently, this is the things people found, though. Keep in mind, people search this up. Keep in mind, when people actually look through all the 3 million files, I feel like we'll get even worse, bro. Because they will probably use code words for sure.
Here, which is Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know, Bill Gates and Epstein had a relationship post 2008. That's a big year. You're going to hear a lot today. Because 2008 was the time that Epstein pled guilty for soliciting of somebody under the age of 18. He was a predator at this point. Everybody knew it. Now, eventually, Bill Gates would get divorced when all of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand, this is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy arm. But this relationship with Epstein has been a huge problem for him.
I don't think
and Epstein
it will matter, though, bro.
That because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts. And it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be. He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on.
Bill gets skipped tonight.
We'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he has on Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the emails I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your I mean, this is insane. It's completely insane. It's like basically laying out in text form, I would give me millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give...
Wait, did he get STDs because of kids?
STD medication to your wife. Without...
To his wife?
Without her knowledge. I mean...
Wait, huh? Whoa! He caught an STD on an island, gave the prescription to his wife, without her knowing that she has an STD because he gave it to her. Is that what's currently happening?
It's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates, obviously, because
the files are open.
Usually wouldn't blackmail somebody for something that's completely false or fake. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
makes
he
sense.
did that.
Makes sense.
But we also know Bill Gates had affairs. Obviously, Melinda credits it
know.
for their divorce.
Jesus.
So it's hard to believe there was nothing sketchy going on. Bill Gates, of course, maintains that it was completely above board. He says the fact this allegation was in here just shows how much Epstein was willing to defame people, but Epstein lays it out. He says he helped Bill get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, and to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. Look, guys, this is exactly what we suspected the whole time. Epstein was providing services to rich people.
Wait, Epstein is he's that as just a pimp? Wait. I mean, wait, but Whoa, I didn't even realize his dad is just a pimp. He has a private island for where he gives free women. Like, he pimps the woman.
And
Yo, Siri, do not. Yo, why is Siri listening?
Now you might say, and it's true that we don't
ain't
know
gonna lie,
that
Siri's trying to
Epstein
tell me
ultimately sent that version of an email to Gates. All we know
Yo, I'm
is
telling
he
y'all,
sent
bro,
that
watch out,
to
CIA is listening.
himself. He may have planned the blackmail and just been drafting something. But what we do know are two things.
Okay.
The Wall Street Journal has reported that Gates was threatened by Epstein over an affair. We also know that after this blackmail email Jeffrey sent to himself was written, eventually Gates sent a $2 million donation to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein.
Alright, Al, this is a 2
which
million
is
gifts
a bit
from Bill
weird
Gates. Okay.
if you had distanced yourself from the guy
My bad,
and
Christian.
y'all had this big falling out. Now again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of
Not
course
really.
we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice from a after he already pled guilty?
Nah.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not that gullible. And speaking of not that gullible, we've been lied to also by another richest guy on the planet.
Elon Musk.
Jeez, it's a shock why they don't want to put this out. Elon Musk, who has been
He has the
saying
dates.
4 years that it is a lie that he went to Epstein's island. In fact,
Oh,
he
no.
says
Here it
he
comes.
refused to go.
Here it
From
comes.
Elon,
Watch
he
that. This is
said,
actually
Epstein
crazy.
tried to get me to go to his island. I refused. He says anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt.
Yeah.
Later responding to another headline
Loser.
that said Elon Musk planned trip to Epstein's private island. And he says,
This is false.
But of course, we start to dig through the files, and we can see on Epstein's calendar that Elon Musk is booked in December 6th of 2014. But maybe you don't believe that. That's just the word of Jeffrey Epstein. But
Okay.
maybe you'll believe the word of Elon Musk, who was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein to go to his island post the guilty plea. Elon Musk writes, "Will be in BVI St. Bart's area over the holiday."
I will send the Haley for you. Sorry for all the typos. Who said that? G Vacation. Epstein had an email called G Vacation. I will send Haley for you. Sorry for that's not a typo though. That's a incorrect sentence. Well, no. I will send you an Haley. I will send a Haley. Okay.
Today's good time to visit. Jeffrey Epstein says, "I will." Send
Yeah,
you
yeah, exactly that one. Is it on there? Please tell me.
Later, Elon Musk writes to Epstein, probably just to Lula and me, his ex-wife,
yeah?
what day and night would be the wildest party on
Yo, he's trying to go crazy.
The world's richest man is asking the most pedophile man for the wildest party
I
on
mean, okay, hold on though. I mean, yeah, he is a predator, but we didn't know that. I mean, we didn't know that. So I mean, I'm gonna be honest though. If you did not know he was a predator, let's just say they didn't know that shit. Epstein's island will probably be the most litest island that there is. No, they have the girls, they have the drinks, they got the drug, they got everything on that. So why would you not want to go? I mean, I'm not a party type of person, but you know,
his island.
it will make sense if you want to go to an Epstein island. No.
And then it gets more explicit. In 2012, remember, this is the guy who said, "I refused it. I could never do that," right? It's false. But here in 2012, he says, "Do you have any parties?"
Whoa! What do you mean
Fortnite
Fortnite and stuff? Whoa! Wait, what happened with Fortnite? Yo, close this shit. I'm not trying to open Fortnite. What the fuck was that?
Excuse, which is what all these guys do. They say, "Hey,
Yeah,
I
I
just
fit
went
it
to go
in
talk to
clean in the
scientists."
vid. What the hell?
Elon's like, "Hey, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for a party. That's what I'm here to do." And then Jeffrey Epstein writes, "Understood. I will see you on St. Barth. The ratio on my island might make your ex-wife uncomfortable." I can't believe these guys are lying to us.
I was about to say, so he's gonna go on an island with his wife to do all the girls in front of his wife?
People are swallowing it still,
Okay.
thinking that Elon Musk had nothing to do with this guy. So again, that's 2012. That's 2014. But guess what? There's another time in 2013. I mean, this seems like a yearly thing with the boys. Here, once again, Elon Musk writes, "We'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays." Again, is there a good time to visit? Jeffrey Epstein, any day, 1st to the 8th, play it by ear if you want, always space for you. They then plan some more, and you might think, well, if Elon ever
Bro,
told
he
the truth,
wanted that party,
this is
bro.
when he has to reject, right? Because he said, "I refused." But actually, it appears to be one of those cases where, like, your friend says, like, "Oh, bro, I dumped her." And actually, it was the other way. Yeah, it turns out Elon didn't dump the p***l. The p***l dumped Elon. He says, "Bad news. Unfortunately, my schedule will keep me in New York. Hopefully, we can schedule another time
Hold on.
in the future."
I was really looking forward to finally spending some time together with just fun as the agenda. So I'm very disappointed. Hopefully, we can schedule another time in the near future.
Jeffrey Epstein let Elon down. That's actually the real story. Is the reason he didn't go in 2013 was because he couldn't go.
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein was not there. Guys,
Okay.
I mean, how blatant do they have to make it before we start to just see through it, right? When they issue these ridiculous denials, they're totally associated with the guy after the guilty
Let
plea.
me speed
They
this
lie
up,
through their
bro.
teeth, but they can't even keep their story straight. And that's what's crazy. They're not even competent at this. They get caught in their own lies all the time. Remember, the FBI's official story was they didn't blackmail. Well,
There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed a prominent individual as part of this action. They did,
before
though.
we even had these files, Howard Lutnick was on the record calling Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
right.
That's what his MO was, you know, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Interesting. Okay, so Howard has a different perspective. Now, if you don't know, that guy, do you think he's just telling the truth there? Even this guy who's contradicting the official narrative, this guy literally lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. This guy who's like, I'm going to tell the truth. Those guys participated. That guy lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, he
How did he live next to him? On the island?
lied too.
Or-
I love this video we're about to get into because this guy, Mr. He's the greatest blackmailer ever, does he know something we don't know? Because it's interesting. Mr. I'm his neighbor had to also explain how he had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
And he lays it out
That was what he
pretty
said.
simply. He goes, yep, I lived next to him, but in 2005, I had such a horrible experience that I knew I could never talk to him again.
He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right, right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And there's a massage table in the middle
Ooh.
of the room. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the
You mean, oh.
right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing
What do you mean, oh?
here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house,
Oh,
my
they
wife
were
and I
island.
decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person.
W wife? No way, I don't believe that though.
Ever again.
Because let's be honest though, if you got money, you think you're safe. You're on the. It makes a lot more sense though, I ain't gonna lie.
Well,
but
he couldn't be more clear, could he? Right?
it is actually clear. But the thing is, they got. Bro, Epstein was known for having the best bodies, bro. So
Hey,
I don't believe that though.
Hey, I may.
I hope
have been
I hope
his
he's loyal to
next
his
door
words though,
neighbor,
but I don't know.
But I met him once before the 2008.
Oh, no. Is he
guilty
gonna
plea.
expose
Remember I
them?
said that was a big deal. And we got invited over, and it was like 5 seconds, and we left, and we realized he was a
Let
creep.
me
We were
speed
out of
this a
there.
bit
He
up.
makes rude comment in front of my wife. I would never go see this guy.
Yeah.
He makes it super clear he's gross.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy.
Business, okay.
That guy was there. I wasn't
But they were just speaking sexually though, no?
going because he's gross.
These other guys, they may have.
That doesn't make it that bad though. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Even saying that in front of his wife is crazy, but like not making business is kind of crazy as well,
They
no?
participated.
But Howard Lutnick, he could never. No. He's too good of a guy. Well, guess what we found?
Oh,
in the old emails?
lol. GG's.
Looky. It's Howard
Yeah.
Lutnick writing in to Jeffy Boy in 2012. Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early afternoon, planning to head over. Where are you located? What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? Is this the guy you said made a lewd comment to your wife and, oh, I could never be in front of him? He's gross. Guess what the next email is? My boy's wife messaging in, saying we're headed towards you in St. Thomas. Later, the subject line, Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, Howard. Jeffrey wished me to pass you along. Nice seeing you. They clearly met, and the guy is just lying about it to your face, to the American public's face, and they tried to hide it from us. I cannot emphasize this enough.
He instantly tried. He knew he was fucked. He knew the files were gonna be dropped. I think he tried clearing his name in front of us. You didn't though.
They're lying through their teeth. You think this guy perfectly remembers a 2005, like, walking in the guy's
facts.
house? I remember exactly what I said to him. My wife and I looked at
He did a shite clearing his
each
name.
other,
Yeah,
and
GG's,
he
bro.
wouldn't remember the 2012. I boated over to his private island for a dinner. Is that what we're
Yo,
really
it's gonna get
thinking?
worse,
Is that
by
what
the
we're
way.
expected to believe? This is a momentary lapse in his judgment. No, these guys don't even care about being consistent, and they're all throwing each other under the bus.
Time to drop the real big bomb. Around top is in Epstein. I knew this. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. And unironically, I mean, he is in the files, but I'm pretty sure he's not on. He was never on the island.
Don't you remember Elon Musk saying the time?
Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Did he really have 205 million likes? No, that doesn't make sense because now we no again.
Drop
It's
the
a different
really big
language.
bomb.
My bad.
Donald Trump
Different
is
language.
in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they haven't been made public. My guy, you also are in the Epstein files, very clearly doing stuff you lied about.
Facts.
Okay, so is Howard Lutnick, who says, yeah, Bill Gates, he's probably getting blackmailed because he participated. What did you do on the island over in 2012, Howard? Do we know that? I mean, does anyone care? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is some of the most explosive stuff.
Oh, this is the screenshot they're sending me, bro. Oh no. Okay, hold on.
It's also, again, I have to say, unverified.
Yeah, look, this is what I'm talking about. It was unverified. It was the person saying that shit. So at the end of the day, they might low-key. I mean, we'll
This
see.
is the NTOC, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, and the challenge with confirming some of this is that these are anonymous tips, or they black them out at least, so we don't know who they are.
Exactly. Look.
And anyone can drop a tip.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean that you should disregard them.
Facts.
It just means we can't verify them. The other challenge is that the FBI has a
Look, so their names aren't even known.
heavy incentive to discredit anything with Donald Trump in it, just because
Facts.
he's in the White House right now, obviously. And so I want to be clear, there are notes related to some of these submissions where they say things like complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate redacted. You know, it's hard to tell how much this is
Facts.
the proper due diligence of the FBI, which they should be doing, of course, and not all complaints are credible. But also there's this obvious conflict of interest with the fact
Let me
that
speed
the
this
sitting
up.
president
Yeah,
is in
yeah,
some
we
of these
know, we
complaints,
know,
but
we
here
know.
they are for what it's worth. Complaint
no.
summary. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend also said she was abused by Epstein. Later, there's very explosive claims about big parties with her, other younger girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. There's claims third hand about a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book citing Leslie Wexner, Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And it goes on like this for a while. Some of the complaints are just like very graphic, and obviously I'm
Thank you for the flag.
some of it. But I should also mention the DOJ claims that some of these claims were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had any shred of
Before the 22 election. This may be just some left-wing politics type of shit. Just to throw him off to not get the vote. I mean, doesn't really make sense, gang. Doesn't really make sense. I ain't gonna lie, doesn't make sense.
credibility, they would have certainly been weaponized against President Trump already. Now, I agree that if a complaint is timed right before an election, there definitely could be some other motivations to that. But it's also ridiculous to say that anything in the Epstein files,
maybe fake.
if it were true, would have come out already. Because why didn't we see the stuff about Bill Gates, for example? I mean, that stuff apparently has been sitting in here
Holy
for
shit,
a
but the
long
35
time.
minutes gone.
And not only did no one talk about it,
They actually have
the
pictures
FBI
of this.
literally
Holy
covered
fuck.
for it. I mean, they said that this was not the case. There are big claims against a lot of powerful people. Nobody in that file really wants to rock the boat or release the files because
Facts.
then they get in trouble and their buddies get in trouble, and that's a
Facts.
huge problem. So I don't really buy the idea that, oh, if it were true, it would have already gotten out. I don't buy that. That's why we need transparency. That's why it's important these files are out. But this is just to look at a small fraction of the files. And
Okay, that's part 1. Now we're gonna get to the real source, gang. 37 minutes. Oh yeah, GG's.
it only gets worse from here. We're going back into the 3 million documents. So far, we mostly covered how billionaires lied about their relationship with Epstein and or got blackmailed in the drafts, eventually killing their marriage. We talked about Howard Lutnick, how he lied about meeting Epstein, although he still denies this. And we also talked about some horrible how he lied about meeting Epstein, although he still denies.
Is that Adolf? Why is that an elf? You know what?
Nice
I'm gonna just
this.
stay quiet.
And we
I don't
also
know.
talked about some horrible accusations against Trump and Bill Clinton, although
Okay.
we were clear that they are unverified. Now, some people have responded to the release, like Elon Musk, saying that no one fought harder for the full release of the Epstein files than I did. Ironically, he claims that he knew that the playbook of the far left propagandists and legacy media is admit nothing, deny everything, and making counter accusations, saying he had never set foot on Epstein's creepy island or
Wait, who said-
attended parties, despite the fact we saw
Who
last
said
time
this?
that Elon was asking to be invited to the party. What day night would be the wildest party on your island? Nevertheless, I think
Yeah,
it's an
crazy.
interesting point. The playbook, as we get into this much darker side of the 3.5 million files, you're going to notice this trend is true, that everyone we're going to talk about, basically they admit nothing, they deny everything, and then they usually make counter accusations against other people.
Yeah, that
in the
did
files.
happen.
Almost
Yep.
no
Facts.
one has faced any kind of consequences for
Facts.
this whole thing,
Facts.
leading me to wonder, why is
Wait, actually, that's crazy. No one did face repercussion after the Pfizer got dropped. Why is no one talking about? I mean, why is no one trying to cancel them now? Just shows they got too much power, bro. We can.
that it seems like really
They
only in
own
the
us.
rest of the world has anyone faced anything. I mean, you've got the former Prince Andrew losing his title.
Yeah,
You've got
okay,
the
that was-
Slovakia National Security Advisor resigning over
Yep.
the Epstein links. But in America, I'm really hard pressed to think of anyone who has actually faced any
Yeah,
kind
no,
of accountability.
that's the thing though. That's why everyone would like to go to the Epstein party though. Like, bro, let's be honest, gang. It was only for rich people. They had everything. So yeah, I understand why they would go, but bro, they thought they would save.
I think
You know, the truth always comes out, gang.
Larry Summers stepped back voluntarily. But other than that, it's hard to think of anyone who's faced any kind of justice. In fact, arguably, Ghislaine Maxwell's life is better than it was previously.
Oh, but the thing is, how did they think this shit will not leak out? That doesn't make sense. Let's say you done something privately. Let's say it was 101 or maybe 1 out of 3. Then the odds of that getting out is hella low. But bro, y'all done this with on the whole
Since these
island.
Epstein files have
Yeah,
dropped.
nah, y'all
And
fried.
what's crazy about
Actual
this
fried.
is that we know that the government story is false. Remember, the FBI document
yeah,
showed they
okay.
had 10 co-conspirators they were investigating. We also got an old draft of an
Old.
indictment where they had several co-defendants with Epstein. Now, of course, we know these were never ultimately charged. This was back in
Okay.
2005, but just imagine
Oh,
all the way back in
Minors involved Jane Doe 6, 8, 9, 13, 14, 16, 17. The dates. My birthday, 31st of March, 05. I was dead as born on that day. Exactly on that day, gang.
in 2005, where these charges are from, we already had evidence that Epstein was not working alone, and of course he's not. But now we're going to talk a little bit about how the scheme operated. Now, to be clear,
That's why you so okay, gang.
we're
What the
gonna talk
fuck?
in a second
Yo, what
about
Radon?
the
Yo,
laundering of Epstein's reputation.
get the fuck out
the
of here.
people who protected him this whole time.
Okay.
But right now, I want to talk about how Epstein got some of these girls in the first place. because
Yeah,
the Epstein
exactly.
files
How did he get the
provide
house?
an interesting look behind the curtains. Obviously, we know Ghislaine Maxwell was helping, whether it be procure the girls,
Okay.
talk them into stuff. But now we have emails of a different side of the scheme.
Okay, let's
It says,
see.
yesterday
How
I
they
spoke
get
to
hoes?
Daniel Syed, who
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Brunel describes as a scout or recruiter of girls or women for Jeffrey Epstein. Attached to this incoming email from Brunel is the contact information he has for Syed. And then they blacked out his number and email. But digging into Jeffrey's
3G
emails with
though?
Daniel shows that he was constantly sending him links to girls. It shows Jeffrey Epstein paying Daniel 3,000 euros.
Wait, Dana, is that a hers or is that the one that's recruiting? We will pay him 3,000 euros every month for scouting for a 6-month period. On all models we get from him, we will pay him 5% commission on their earnings. I'm preparing our. Hold on, the guy, he's pimping. Who is this guy? Daniel. He's getting a lot of money. 3K every month. At that time, how much was 3K around? When was this sent? October 9th. How much was 3K dollars worth in 09? I mean, that's like 1.5K in current dates. I mean, not bad, but getting a
To be
5% commission.
Clear was the amount that was agreed to by Jean-Luc Brunel. Quote, Dominique, we will pay him 3,000 euros each month for scouting for a 6-month period. On all models,
Every month. Oh, for 6 months. 6 months, double that 6. Wait, how much is this? Whoa, whoa. Calculate this 6, double that by 3. I'm slow as hell. Wait, how much is it? Dollars in 09 words today. Holy shit. Okay, that's getting 30 grand in 6 months.
We will get him,
I mean,
we will
hey.
pay him 5% commission on their earnings. Imagine it's like baseball or it's like
Facts.
basketball. You're scouting for, I hate to use the word talent, but that's really what this guy was doing. He was going around the globe trying to find people for Jeffrey Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel. According to one lawsuit, Epstein trafficked a Jane Doe to Jean-Luc Brunel many times. It describes their operation as this: many of the girls came from poor countries or impoverished backgrounds. He lured them in with a promise of making good money. Quote, Brunel has been a model scout for various modeling agencies for many years, and he was apparently able to get U.S. passports for young girls to work as models, eventually, of course, being sent to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it should be noted that Jean-Luc Brunel himself died in prison by hanging, and that's while he...
Whoa, yo, people are covering the tracks. Yo. Jeffrey Epstein died. He died. He was scouting. Yeah, no. There's something shit. Yo, there's some shit we'll never figure out, bro.
He's being accused of horrible crimes. Brunel himself...
Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein, I just found that in prison. Yeah, nah.
died in prison by hanging,
Sus.
and that's while he was being accused of horrible crimes related to trafficking and minors. So this guy is not a good guy. He was part
Why does he look like the guy from Breaking
of
Bad?
crimes related to trafficking.
Did
minors.
Epstein really die though? It will not make sense to make him still live on. It will not make sense because people say he is a Mossad or he works for the CIA. Allegedly, do not catch me, gang. I do not say anything. But if he is or if he was, then they should. That has just, because it's just better. He has too much proof about,
But this guy is not
Why would the head of CIA or whatever let him live on? Why? That
a
doesn't make
good
sense.
guy. He was.
I'm
part
just
of
saying
the op,
allegedly. Yo,
along
don't
with
get me, gang.
Daniel Syed, who was also scouting on behalf of Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel. They had their agreement. Here's a sample.
Whoa. What the fuck did I read? I've seen my people in this list.
On
No, as in I know them.
behalf of Epstein and Jean-Luc.
No. Thank you, Gino. I see that you keep your word, just like my friend Rashid spoke highly about you. My warmest regards. So now we are on a business. I will not disappoint you. You have my Berber, Moroccan, Algerian, Tunisian, a little bit of Egypt words. Wikipedia, Wiki Berber Jew. Oh my days. Oh my
Brunel,
god.
they had their agreement. Here's a sample of how this would work. Jeffrey Epstein asked him to take a full body shot of someone. Daniel Syed says, now she is really skinny, I will do Polaroid. Jeffrey Epstein asks for a copy of her passport and then asks, how many tickets do you want for Woody, meaning Woody Allen? He says 2.
okay, so-
Okay, thank you. Full body if possible. And then Jeffrey Epstein says, doesn't look too happy. Comments on her body, and then he says she is very sweet. I'll skip a few of the sordid details here. They comment about her body extensively, and then Jeffrey Epstein says, I sent a request.
She's nice, her boobs are awful. They will have to be redone. Holy shit, they don't even see them as women.
Does she want to come out to Paris?
They didn't see them as play toys. Holy shit, it's actually insane.
I will invite to come. And this is basically how it worked. Daniel Syed flew around the world looking for women, sending photos to Jeffrey Epstein, who then would get a copy of their passports and bring them to the States.
Actually hurt
Here's an
myself.
example of this. Daniel Syed brings him a girl. They didn't redact this name, but I'm going to do it. He says, very nice, easygoing, dream to work in United States or visit the United States working as a model in Dubai. He asks age. Daniel says 22 or 23. I forgot to ask her. She looks younger. I have her number if you want to call her. She was going to send this evening. And this happens over and over. At one point, he talks about a Thai actress.
Okay,
Jeffrey Epstein says he can see her on Wednesday, and then he complains that she wants to
She wants to meet in I don't do that in New York. Bro, what the fuck?
meet in a restaurant. I don't do that in New York. And then says she didn't even respond. Not nice.
He owns the scene. Why is he talking like a loser? Oh, she didn't respond. That's not nice.
The point is, a lot of these girls
Yo, he did not come here, bro. He go off. So I'm
were
just
looking
saying.
to come to the United States for one reason or another, for some kind of dream. They would ask for
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. If you get an invite to go to the US, let alone on the 09s and shit, yo, everyone would love to go there, no?
passports or visas.
Makes sense.
And then ultimately get sent here by this network of people who would later be accused of trafficking or other abuses. Now, to be clear, there have not been charges against Daniel Syed, and the government, remember, says they have no evidence to go even predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So it's a little bit bizarre to be reading about this scouting operation for Jeffrey Epstein, the way he recruited girls, and then be told, yeah, nothing to see here. Yeah, one of the scouts
I'll
was
go in,
like
who's
this,
we,
like,
gang?
who in jail. But yeah, there's no one else here, even though there's definitely guys floating around. Even though we literally have
On the 31st of March. But these people were accused. I mean, they accused
redacted defendants in
minors involved. Y'all think Jeffrey Epstein touched me when I just got born?
our old draft of an
Bro, 31st of March is actually
indictment.
crazy.
We have nothing
gang.
to do. We can't possibly imagine doing anything. And that brings me to one of the frustrating parts of these whole files is the redactions. I mean, I know
Yeah,
I've
that
been
actually is
over
crazy.
this, but it's a different thing. In the past, the files were sort of overly redacted to protect
Facts.
people. The problem this time is not only are a lot of people still being protected, like literally the names of the people they were going to charge, you couldn't argue those are victims, but the work was just done so sloppy that oftentimes you'll find that the DOJ has uploaded 2 documents that are functionally identical, and they redacted one but not the other, letting you
Lol.
see what's ultimately behind the mask, which is dumb because sometimes the thing
You
they're
got connected
redacting
dots, yep.
is Jeffrey Epstein's name. Or other times, it's somebody who clearly is not a victim because then you see the non-redacted copy and you're like, yeah, that's clearly not a victim. So it's a little strange what they seem to have done here. Let me give you a for instance. So we have this message from somebody whose name is blacked out, and we see participants, and then we see Jeffrey Epstein is involved, right? And it says, we need to work around your 38. We need to push back on the lies, then crush the pedo trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist. Now, I want to know who's doing that? Who's trying to rebuild Jeffrey Epstein's image, right? Well, we go ahead, we scroll down, and we see that Jeffrey Epstein sends something. He says, in any bar where drinking age is 18, and you see the participant is once again blacked out. But underneath it, in a separate
Steve
file,
Bannon.
we see Steve Bannon, a famous political figure, is in here, and he's saying the same thing. He says, first, we need to push back on the lies, then crush the trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist.
I don't know.
Guys,
Wait, hold on.
why did you censor out his name? Or, like, why was that censored at all? I don't understand.
Executive and former White House chief strategist. Jesus.
And I certainly don't understand why Jeffrey Epstein's name in this one is censored. So Jeffrey's not censored in this one, but Bannon is, and then Bannon's not censored in this one, and Epstein.
That is. Yo, they even got a fit pic. Look how nice he. Epstein, look, he looks like a nice guy. Am I geeking or no? He looks like a nice guy. You can walk past and he will say good morning.
Is, and sometimes
They got a
this
fit pic.
creates the
Actual
bizarre
crazy,
impression
bro.
that they are censoring for victim names or for some like kind of victim status or for some reason, and then you see the other file and you're like, wait, why did you do this? It's just very poorly done throughout. That's just something I wanted to comment on. Is not
I
only
love
did they, once
Godzilla,
again,
bro.
not fully redact things because they were sloppy, but also like victims' names got stuck in this. Like girls' names appear sometimes, and like I'm not sure are they supposed to be redacted because they're redacted over here. They're not over here. I can kind of figure out who it is. It's just kind of a mess. I needed to point that out. You know, other times we have things like this, like Brock Pierce.
What the fuck?
Co-founder of Tether, also known as the biggest stablecoin in the world. He sent a message to Jeffrey Epstein with the subject line Anastasia, and then it's
They
just
own
a
crypto,
bunch
no?
of redacted stuff with a few untitled JPEGs in here. And so, you know, you're thinking to yourself, what is this? Is he sending some illicit media?
Is because the class that he looks like a good guy.
What is this?
Oh,
Well, then we
Luffy.
have this page where it wasn't redacted. I put that little dark square that I didn't know if this should have been redacted or not. It's like a bunch of JPEGs. Now, does that contain victims? Is Brock Pierce sending photos of victims? I don't know because of the way the government did this. But underneath, it says the Ukraine is now my favorite country, smiley face, Brock Pierce.
Is Lalo in here? Please tell me Lalo's in here. Lalo's not in here. Fuck.
With the subject line Anastasia. I don't know what to make of that. I'm just saying the redactions, like the way they did this is not good. But now let's return to Steve Bannon and his we're gonna crush the trafficking narrative, because this
Look at him.
guy,
Jesus.
oh boy, has been revealed in the files to being like Jeffrey's right-hand PR man. I mean, this guy was filming.
I mean, Epstein did have a lot of money though, so I guess people, yeah, that's so
basically
crazy,
a
bro.
documentary about Jeffrey Epstein.
Keep in mind, Jeffrey Epstein was just a guy that invested in forex, not like in the American company somehow, and got very rich. And now this is shit happening.
In
Hold on, let
order
me check.
to rehabilitate his image, and some of it has actually leaked to the public. It's been interesting to watch how that's been received. But the funny thing is
was
that
a financer,
originally
actually
Jeffrey
crazy,
Epstein's
bro.
plan was to just do a YouTube video, like an apology, like a old school.
Yo, imagine Jeffrey Epstein dropped a YouTube video like the Travis Scott apology vid. Yo, no, this is actually a joke.
2016 turn on the camera for authenticity and saying, you know, he said, you think I can do my own video interview and upload it to YouTube? No sandbagging, interview format, or like a diary piece. Steve Bannon says, if you do an interview, it can't be like Johnny does a YouTube. It has to be amazingly professional and perfectly cut. Then Jeffrey Epstein responds, Woody, we assume Woody Allen,
He got
because they were
editors,
close,
yeah, that was
said
funny.
he would help edit,
I mean, it's
not
not
sure
funny,
how to
but you know.
stage, what points to make. But better than trying to do an interview that I have no experience doing. Goal
want
is
to
to
humanize
humanize
the
the
monster.
monster. Anything
He
written
calls
carries
himself-
little weight. To which Steve Bannon replies, yes, Jeffrey Epstein. Should it be an interview format, interviewed by
Edit what exactly certain cuts and stuff to make it look like, you know, adding some certain noise, certain light. Trust me, if you add certain light on a certain picture without realizing your brain gonna interrupt it a bit warm or a bit cold, you know.
me? They start talking about like how
So they cannot manipulate you watching that shit, bro. They probably have some insane team if they edited this
do we
shit.
do
They got
this?
money, bro.
Humor, apology, how did I get rich? Question mark topics. Their brainstorming. How do we trick the public into seeing me as more than
You
a
know how
monster?
This is crazy.
Now, funny
bro.
enough-
But keep in mind, there are people walking around us that not even rich that do this shit for free, gang. Like people that
Right
yeah,
before
no,
this,
that's
Jeffrey
so crazy,
Epstein
bro.
asks about a dinner with Woody, and then he says, or too many pedos in one place. And you gotta love the self-awareness there. Now, I don't know what he meant by that. To be clear, I'm not making that accusation against Woody Allen. We'll talk about him in a second. That's Jeffrey Epstein saying that. I think what's interesting to point out, though, is how all these rich and powerful people are circling the wagons to try to protect Jeffrey Epstein's reputation, right? This is a guy who, at this point,
Yo, do you think almost everyone is sleeping, no?
has been known for years to have pled guilty to these 2008 charges. This was an open secret. And so Steve
I'm watching our second hour now, guys. We're blown away, and I didn't think it was strong at the time, but I was wrong. Need huge part on thread of AI versus reality threat of climate change. When was this shit sent, bro?
Bannon goes along, though, anyways, and he films this documentary. Now, what's interesting is he starts talking about the documentary, and he starts saying, I'm watching our second hour now. Guys are blown away. I didn't think it was strong at the time. I was wrong. Need huge part about threat of AI versus reality, threat of climate change. And this is where the notes start going back and forth of how can we get you to think of other things? So part of the conceit of this big interview of Jeffrey Epstein was to try to humanize him and actually present him as this genius, everyman, quirky.
You made me go to PC from bed. The fuck you need? Jeffrey Epstein loved Ukraine because of young girls, bro.
Guy
Yo, Lalo, Jeffrey Epstein put you on the map.
with a few flaws, right? They knew
I mean, that ass. He said this. Now I love Ukraine or some
they
shit.
couldn't run away from the crimes.
Why did you even go on my PC? Yo, just leave a be, gang. You didn't have to do that.
To quote in Bannon's words, yes, 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 of course, but we must counter rapists who traffics in female children to be raped by world's most powerful, richest men. That can't be redeemed. Can't redeem the unredeemable. You are a lot of things which we will show, but you are not that. Bannon is aware that, like, they
Good night, Lalo.
can't
Slip
fully
up, bro.
embrace the Epstein thing. They have to kind of make it about more than that. And if you see the YouTube clip going around, that's what that is. And it's been so
I look want every rich guy dead. Is that go a little too far? I mean, yeah, because if every rich guy dies, where would our food come from, bro? Bro, if you really know the rich people, they own everything. At this point, if they all die, who's gonna pick them up? Then the other one will be rich. Then the other one, then the other one, then the other one. And keep in mind, even though the rich people, if they die, gang, I mean, okay, they're doing a bad job right now, but life will not change by just removing them. Either way, we fried.
interesting to watch the reaction.
Bro, the thing is, it's done, bro. Even if you're gonna revolt either way, we will change the people up there. I don't think you realize there is Donald Trump. Let's just say Donald Trump. Then there is that person. Then there's the people that own that person. So, because Donald Trump is owned, let's be honest, he does certain shit. They claim he's the president of some shit, but he gets orders as well. I promise he gets order. He's not the one. Trust, he gets order. Then there is the people that own him and a lot of shit. And then there is the people. That's in my opinion. Then there is the owners of everything, bro. The big.
You see, even for people
I saw silverfish on.
who
I never knew what a silverfish was until recently, having a bathroom upstairs.
who've been prepped with the idea that this is basically propaganda, some of them still fall for it. They post things like, you know, oh, cat bro is casually
Bro, can you confirm every conspiracy?
confirming the world.
I wonder if there will be a third chance of the world. First, a meteor killing us, and now I wonder if there is a meteor killing us. I don't think so, bro, because we got technology to counter that shit. Believe it or not. Bro, I think everyone realized everyone... it doesn't matter. China, US, Russia, probably all of them will come together to get that meteor down, bro.
Conspiracies because he's talking about 2008. But guys, that's the whole deception. They're like trying to be like, hey, this guy, this horrible monster, he's going to tell you the secrets of the inside club.
Believe it or not, they still got the little meteor, by the way. Yeah, sure, but the war didn't really put real effort in there, bro. If you really think about it, they're not going to put in a real effort, bro.
So
Yo, if they really put in the real effort, bro, trust me, the shit you read on media isn't that serious, bro. They're always engagement bait. Do not get your info on TikTok, because low-key, usually, if you get your TikTok, like, bro, that doesn't make... Do you even know how big the meteor was that killed the dinosaurs? I know, but, you know, I don't... Yo, imagine we send nukes to the fucking meteor, bro. That shit is gonna get vaporized, bro. I mean, depends. I don't know how space works with gravity and shit.
you think
Look, I don't know.
more, that's the whole thing.
I'm not saying we will win that, but I do...
That's how they're getting away
Whatever,
with this.
whatever,
It's not
whatever.
some kind
Whatever.
of, oh, he happened to want to talk about this. This is all premeditated. This has gone through revisions. They even
Oh, yeah, this interview was crazy.
called Jeffrey Epstein the smartest guy in the room.
Look,
This was made for Epstein to look like a good guy, which made him look like an even worse guy. Okay.
the smartest guy in the room, right? You know that.
It's honest.
I mean, he
It's
is,
ridiculous.
though. He isn't he, no?
If anyone believes the false conceit of, you're obviously the smartest man in the room, you could tell us the world's secrets. I mean,
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, I get
this
it.
guy, honestly, he
Blazing
talks
nonchalantly.
about some of his engagements, like with the Rockefeller board, and he
Right.
tries to say that owning a calculator is why he got that.
It was very advanced in those days to have a Texas Instrument calculator where it could, by putting in the numbers, it would multiply for you to do square roots. And that was the first, and everyone who had a calculator was already advanced on Wall Street. The most important
That's
parts
crazy.
of business
What the hell?
were really now going to calculations. Places like Rockefeller needed someone to say, look, we're entering a different world
Okay.
of numbers, and the numbers of companies, portfolio management was going to be balanced, it was going to be statistical. Jeffrey, could you come on the board, potentially sit on the finance committee?
So we're honestly
Oh,
supposed to
damn!
believe
He was a baller!
that Jeffrey
I
Epstein...
thought he had a Jewish
gone-
accent. Yo, but you hear his voice, or he doesn't have a deep voice. He looks like he has a deep voice, but he doesn't. You wanna know why? Because he's low on testosterone. Ha! And you wanna know some shit? They found in the files that Jeffrey Epstein was low on tests. Then turns out, you know what they found out as well? He wanted to make other men be low on tests because he was kinda jealous. I'm not even trolling, bro. I've
to
seen that
this
shit.
prestigious Rockefeller board because he had a calculator, but also that he's the smartest guy in the room, the smartest man on Wall Street.
Actually crazy, bro.
And let's not talk about
I mean,
those...
then I did see some people saying some shit like, "Yo, watch out!" Like them gym rats saying some shit like, "Yeah, this is why you should not believe the current media. They're trying to get you low on tests, do this and that." Like,
Horrific.
come on, bro. Now you're selling your course, bro.
crimes
Yeah, nah, not like you going to cheek. I mean, he did.
he committed because, you know, he's not really such a bad guy after all. But it wasn't just Steve Bannon that was trying to humanize or giving advice on how to humanize
Well,
Epstein. It was also Richard Branson, the famous billionaire. He was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein saying,
no.
"Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. Anytime you are in the area, would love to see you as long as you bring your harem."
I know that from anime.
I don't know, that's not that ambiguous, guys. I think we can imagine what that means. But anyways, he says, one, I think if Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old and were punished for it, that you've more than learned your lesson.
I think if Bill Gates was going to say you've been a bit advised to him that you slipped up many years ago by sleep with a 17. Yo, gang. I mean, even if she was 18, will not make it better, low key, but okay, I guess.
And I've done nothing that's against the law since. And yes, as a single man, you have a penchant for women, but there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, something along those lines. He's giving him PR advice. How to get your reputation back. Hey, Jeffrey, privately, I loved you. You can come back anytime with your harem. Jeffrey Epstein responds, nice seeing you. Thanks for your hospitality. I appreciate your public relations thoughts. Now, according to the New York Times, a Branson representative said the two had a business meeting and stressed the women were adults and had not attended the meeting. All above board. That's what everyone says, by the way. Remember what Elon Musk said, right? That's
mean,
the
nothing,
playbook.
deny everything,
Admit
make account,
nothing,
okay?
deny everything. Speaking of, remember Howard Lutnick, who we
Just
showed...
Christian_Z cheered. X15. Manchord Bio Island and make your own party.
on video saying that he had never seen Epstein since 2005.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going.
Yo, Zaba, you're alive? What the hell, bro? Let me see sub goal. What do we mean sub goal? Oh, we hit 1,000 bits. Yo, Zabi. Bro said hi.
Although also calling him the greatest blackmailer ever.
This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Well, also according to the Times, Lutnick said he spent zero time with him, even though there are emails basically to the contrary, where Epstein is saying, nice seeing you after the conviction. I mean, these people, not only are they lying, they won't even admit when they did caught lying. But now let's talk about Prince.
Oh no, this is bad. But how old is she? Because she looks old. Oh no, this angle looks bad. Because if I'm looking at this one, this looks like a woman, but she has a watch and shit. I mean, okay, but what the fuck's feet is on there? Wait, what am I looking at?
Andrew, too, who was caught lying over a woman at some kind of a party. I mean, just not a good... This is just...
Why is it bad? Okay, yeah, no, as a prince, that's actually bad. I ain't gonna lie, never mind.
Not.
I didn't think about Prince morals.
This is not doing you any favors, you know. I know Prince Andrew soon will probably be on the comeback tour. It's going to be a bunch of highly paid PR execs. Maybe Steve Bannon can jump in, shoot another...
Loki Chow, would y'all want to stay in the country I live or in another? I ain't gonna lie, I want to live in another again.
5-hour podcast trying to...
The thing is, the country I'm in, the medic field and shit, everything gets paid, bro. Like, almost everything gets paid. I don't know. The taxpayers' money, so if I go to the local, whatever you call that, drugstore, and let's say I buy, I don't know, a certain pill because I have ass itching, and I buy that shit, that usually costs like $60, but the taxpayers are buying like, I mean, they paid for that shit. So that means I'm using $5. So that means I have a, I mean, like, bro, do you know how free that is? And yeah. Wait, hold on. Being a drugstore actually gets a lot of money. You get paid, guaranteed paid, because it comes from taxpayers.
Rehabilitate him, like Prince Andrew. What's the
I'ma
secret?
stay, but if you have money though, I'm not. If I don't have money, why will I leave? I would love this country then, you know. Because I was raining. Yeah, facts. I don't think I realized how gray weather is actually bad for you, bro. I'm not even trolling. Do you know how depressing that is? That's if y'all think about a depressing day, what was the first thing I think about? Gray weather, rain. Bro, we live in that fucking country, gang. UK, yeah, I'll be thinking about my shit. Bro, yesterday the sun was on. I sort of go, I felt the sun on my eye, on my face. Oh, that shit feels so good. I was thinking about making it and escaping this shit, bro.
The royal family.
I'll think about sun, Cap.
Look, you're the smartest guy in the room.
Joke, exactly.
But again, has he admitted anything? Has
the
he
sun was on,
denied
exactly.
everything?
It was
No,
on,
we should
guys.
also probably talk about Noam Chomsky as well, the guy
Who's
behind the book
that?
Manufacturing Consent, which in hindsight, maybe we should have suspected something. But either way, he also
Bro wrote a book about consent. But was on the island. Okay.
sends some reputational advice to his buddy Jeffrey Epstein. He says, I watched the horrible way you've been treated by the press and public. It's painful
I
to
can
say,
turn the sun
but I think
off,
the best way
yeah.
to proceed is to ignore
Facts,
it.
Rennie.
When the vultures dearly want is a public response, which then provides a public opening.
Okay.
In general, I think it's best not to react unless directly questioned, particularly in the current
Makes sense.
mood. That's the best advice I can think of. Noam. Now, he sends that to Matthew Hiltzik of Hiltzik Strategies, who is a also famous PR guy, I guess, trying to help Epstein, I assume, who responds, I think that is wise.
Okay.
Now, later talking with Bannon, Epstein loops in Hiltzik again. He says, Matt Hiltzik thought your idea was epic. Hypocrisy of the liberal
Okay,
left.
so he was right.
He says, yep, he would confidentially like to sit and help if you like. This is Matthew Hiltzik. You know, a lot of powerful people basically were bending over backwards,
Okay.
left, right, center, trying to rehabilitate this guy's image. And the question is, why? Why were all these guys so interested in their precious Jeffrey Epstein? If
They're all trying to help Jeffrey. But why? It's because the name is on the files.
they had no involvement. I mean, that's the part I can't figure out.
Oh, no, I
because
didn't think
all
about
of them
that.
deny
Oh,
it. All of them don't admit anything. And so what exactly is the problem? But now it's time to talk about Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk. He was also in the files. Jeffrey was
yeah.
copied on an email talking about Kimball's 40th birthday, where the password to the secret party was Pussy Riot. And then in all
If the venue door is closed, if the venue doors are locked, or you are lost, call the resort. Password is Pussy Riot. I'm not joking about the password.
caps, Boris, the sender of this email, says, I am not joking about the password. This was in 2012 in September. Now that's important because a little bit later, Kimball Musk is emailing Boris Nikolic and Jeffrey Epstein. And he's talking to them about being connected with some redacted name and saying, I believe you both played a role, whatever that means. Now, whether this was at the party, I believe you both
What was the title? Subject: medication use higher among overweight, obese kids.
played a role, whatever that means. Now, whether this was at the party or, right after their meeting in October, I don't know. But what's interesting is Boris responds and says,
Yo, but that doesn't make sense, Christian, because Belgium made that shit, no? So Belgium... Whoa.
Kimball, just FYI, you better be nice to redacted.
Yo,
Jeffrey
do not
goes
even talk about food, Cham. I'm hungry,
crazy
bro.
when someone mistreats his girls/friends. So better be very nice to her.
Jeffrey goes crazy when someone mistreats his girls? Such friends? What the fuck?
Kimball Musk responds, message received, wide and clear. Then he says, seriously, I'm very happy with my time so far with Jennifer. She's great. Now, again, was that supposed to be a redacted name we just read? Like, I don't know. They've been redacting it in earlier emails. Then all of a sudden you just get Jennifer. I can't really figure that out. But what I can figure out is that a little while later, a few days later, Jeffrey
I see
Epstein
what you
gets
mean.
an email. Now, we know Kimball credits the meetup and says Boris and Epstein were responsible in some way for this. But now Jeffrey Epstein's being emailed about Jen's schedule. Is that Jennifer? I mean, it seems like it because Jen's schedule for the rest of the year, and it seems like the assistant has copy and pasted Jen's response because she says, Sue, these would be dates in November, and then starts saying, this, she can go to New York. She says the 29th to the 7th, she's free. Kimball to New York. Then she says, Kimball, Jen, London. Kimball, Jen, London to Morocco, ? Then she has a...
Wow, we're so much in the files, gang. How about that? Yo. Free my people.
break, and then it's Jen, Kimball, St. Bart's. Assuming we're not sick...
Thank you, Christian. Morocco always is some type of drama. We're either positive in the news, negative in the news. We either are the persecutor or we're the people that are defending some person. We're either the one that's doing something. Like, bro, we're everywhere, again. We can never do some shit, bro.
...of each other by the end of November. Now, I can't figure out
Moroccans are
why
everywhere
is she
somehow, bro.
running
I don't
this
get it, bro.
schedule about when she's hanging out with Kimball, who Jeffrey set her up with. Like, why is she running this by Elon Musk? To be clear, I don't know. You know, there could be, I guess,
This finally since y'all back.
explanations for
I've
this.
already seen some
I don't
vids.
know.
I've already seen some vids, but
But all
it's always North Africa fighting each other, bro.
I see are
More on the Epstein Island. Okay, gang.
constant,
There's the people that are in there. No. Okay, whatever.
powerful people.
Thank you,
either
Christian.
being
Thank you, bro.
Intro to girls, talking about the harem, talking about beautiful ladies, and the FBI, they can't figure it out. They have no evidence to even investigate.
Yeah, exactly. Facts.
Third parties. Why? I guess because they're rich and powerful. Around the world, we're seeing resignations. We're seeing people lose.
But I kind of get why they want to go so badly. If we're being honest, though, I feel like most guys I know would love to go in a harem, bro. Like getting glazed by every single woman they see, bro. I get that. Okay, cool. I get that. I'm not doing that shit. I'm more of a single person type of guy. However, I've been in a high school with only boys. The only thing I heard was some weird shit like that, bro. So I know why most guys will do that, because they down bad. And they're rich, white, and powerful on a private island. Yeah, and they're old men. Like, boy, they're never getting some shit like that.
But here in the United States, we've got like multiple presidents in the files. We've got the world's richest man in the files. Several of the world's richest men in the files. And we just can't drum up any kind.
People, I'm not even gonna lie. Most people are hating even on the Epstein shit. I feel like if they got invited on that shit, they will have been there. I'm not even gonna lie. That's my take, bro.
Kind of evidence. It's just incredible to me. Now, I also want to talk about another rich and powerful person, and that is Peter Attia. He's a podcast bro. He's a longevity expert. And actually, funny enough, I read his book. And that's going to come into play here in a second. Because,
what does that mean, bro?
Oh boy, did I get some additional context. But let's start here with something that Peter Attia sent Jeffrey Epstein. He says, subject, got a fresh shipment. And then Epstein responds, me too. And there's a completely redacted image. Is that a girl? Or is this bad redaction?
I think it will be
we don't
drug.
know, although we'll find out in a second because later Peter responded to this. But Peter says, please tell me you found that picture online. Jeffrey responds, got a fresh shipment. Frayed not. Peter responds, you know the biggest problem with becoming friends with you. The life you lead is so outrageous, yet I can't tell a soul. Why, Peter? Why can't you tell a soul? Why don't you tell us now? Now that it's all out in the open, why don't you tell us why you can't tell a soul the secrets or the life that Epstein leads? And then we get another redacted photo, right? And then some more images, and Peter says, please tell me that's not where you actually are. And Jeffrey says, you can see the gym in the middle, just me and 4. And Peter says, I think you might have a more interesting life than the Dos Equis guy. Is this off the coast of France? No, it's my island in the Caribbean near St. Thomas.
June 24. I think I went to Morocco. I think with the car. So we drove from Belgium, France, Spain. So I went past Jeffrey Epstein. So I seen Jeffrey Epstein.
If you go to Google Earth and type in Little St. James. Beautiful. Isn't that nice? Behind closed doors.
Why am I even trying to connect
beautiful.
him?
In
to me?
public,
I'm
you know, we'll
joking.
hear about what a monster this guy is, right? But behind closed doors, when nobody's watching, oh, it's beautiful. There's some other stuff Peter Attia said, which I'm not going to get into.
Bro said pussy is indeed low carbs. I'm waiting result on glutes. Yo. Are they putting the show on a scale or something?
You know, appropriate for medical professionals
Yo,
to
I'm
be saying
crying.
such things, but
I'm
this wasn't
crying.
all
That's
business,
funny,
right?
that's funny.
This wasn't
On
just
Burkey.
doctor-patient kind of stuff. There's a lot of guy talk, a lot of banter
Yeah,
between
exactly.
the fellas about ladies. And maybe that's why Peter Attia says that hopefully Jeffrey Epstein is in town when I'm back in 2 weeks. I go into Jeffrey Epstein withdrawal when I don't see him. So guys, these two were close. I mean, apparently so close that, you know, Peter Attia goes into withdrawal when he doesn't see him. Peter Attia says, are you on island? Jeffrey Epstein says, P Beach, probably Palm Beach. And he says,
Okay.
what do you do when you get there? Jeffrey Epstein, guess. Peter Attia, besides that, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it, guys. This is barely code at this point. You know, what do you do? Guess. Well, besides that, you know, Jeffrey, we know what you do, right? So it's so funny that the FBI's like, we don't know. We can't tell what's out there. We have no evidence, right? No evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties and then proceed to dump on us a ton of evidence. At least to investigate, right? I'm not saying these people are guilty. Obviously, all of them deny, don't admit, blame other people, say other people are responsible for everything. So that is taken as a given. I'm not accusing anyone here. I'm just saying, seems like we got a few leads here, fellas. Some people to look at. Now, I want to address the fact that Peter Attia has actually responded to this whole debacle. He says the following email is what I sent my team last night. I sent a similar version to my patients as well. You put your trust,
Okay,
your
one
credibility,
ball.
your hard work. What we built together, I take that responsibility seriously. You deserve a complete and honest account of what did and did not happen. I apologize. It did not get this out sooner. I wanted to be thorough. He says, I was not involved in any criminal activity. My interactions had nothing to do with his abuse or exploitation of anyone. I was never on his plane, never on his island, never present at any parties. That said, I apologize and regret putting myself in a position where emails, some of them embarrassing, tasteless, and indefensible, are now public. So it's this apology, you know, he
Yeah, if he was on a Epstein Island, you was fried.
addresses
I'm just
some
saying.
things, and he says,
Yeah,
it's
either you would have been cancelled. But I think it would be better to just not speak about that shit.
some of it's just banter.
Because at the end of the point,
Right? Like I said, it's just guy talk, whatever that means. He claims that his got a fresh shipment was in reference to a photograph of bottles of metformin, and then Jeffrey responded with a photograph of an adult woman. I responded with crude, tasteless banter. He says one line in that exchange about his life being outrageous and me not being able to tell anyone is being interpreted as awareness of wrongdoing. That's not how I meant it at all. What I was referring to poorly and flippantly with the discretion commanded by those social and professional circles. The idea you don't talk about who you meet. I don't know, Peter. This seems like revisionist history a little bit, I mean, personally, to me, as I'm viewing this, you know, third hand, right? Just from the outsider perspective. Now, Peter says he did ask Jeffrey about his 2008 conviction because all this happened afterwards, right? He characterized it as prostitution-related charges. In 2018, I learned that this was grossly minimized. I was incredibly naive to believe him, and then later explains that in 2018, November, he read the Miami Herald investigative article, told him he needed to accept responsibility for what he did, and said he even asked Epstein to provide therapy to Epstein's victims, which is an interesting approach.
Yeah, but who are these people? I don't care about these
I believe,
people.
like, stressful about the Miami ending accountability. Tia says legally, I don't know.
I mean, okay, now we talk about people that are trying to counter this shit, but you know, I'm trying to see other shit though.
On.
I don't want to be one of your women, or should I say girls? I would be much more expensive than that. You wouldn't be able to afford me. Is this one of the times when you're not chill to be my friend?
Come on, guys.
Yes, the price to pay would definitely be too high.
Woody says, I would be much more expensive than your girls. You wouldn't be able to afford
Woody
me.
Allen, what's
Jeffrey
Woody
responds, yes.
Allen? Woody Allen. Yo, what's good, Toby? Bro, still dead. Woody Allen. I mean, if he's not pulling on Epstein Island, the respect to that, gang.
The price to pay would be too high. Woody says this will be a beautiful friendship. And then Jeffrey says, as long as I follow orders, smiley face. Woody Allen sends a message saying Woody says the exact same thing, but in a dirtier way. Jeffrey responds, what did he say? Woody Allen, are you kidding? I can't put it in writing. I mean, no evidence, no evidence. Come on. I think I see a little bit of evidence. I'm squinting, but I think I can see a little bit of evidence. I mean, guys, like Jeffrey Epstein right here, where he's talking to a guy. He says Paris with Woody, and the person.
Kesher, I think this was on. No, I don't know. This was on a certain site though. I seen it. I seen the app, but I don't know what site they were talking about. But sometimes they have emails. I don't know. It was crazy though.
Responds for Le File Convention, and Jeffrey says, I think file is the
Epstein
plural.
Gangos.
It's about shining accountability and justice for the victim. Are there going to be consequences?
Is there any chance that any of these individuals who partied with Epstein and engaged
United States Deputy Attorney General, is an attorney,
relations with minors will be prosecuted? Any chance?
I'll never say no, and we will always investigate any evidence of misconduct. But as you know, it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein, and so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things, and
yeah, which is crazy, but it makes sense.
If we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American
Why is he trying to pull up nice? Shut the
people
fuck
need
up,
to understand that. It isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. It isn't a crime to have
Didn't look like that's all that was going on some of those photos. I mean, if the photos could speak, some of them look pretty bad.
That's right. And unfortunately, photos can't speak.
That was it. And unfortunately,
I'm tired.
Yo, gang. This is crazy. You know what, Loki? I want to see the files myself, but I'm scared if there is gonna be. Are you 18 years of old? Yes, sir. Is it because he's in the files? You think so? I don't know. I don't know who that guy is. Wait, hold on. How do I check in this shit? Okay, type to search. Let's look up Manchord. Okay, let's just look up my government name.